Hey everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson Interior Soapery. We're coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. So all of the ingredients here will be listed in grams, but there are plenty of recalculations online for you to change it into your own measurements. So we're first popping in the bicarbonate soda. So for this particular recipe, we're going to use 1,000 grams of the bicarb, and you can see that I'm actually popping it into a sifter. So everything gets sifted. Here you can see I'm adding my Epsom salts. So with that, I add 70 grams of Epsom salts. And on the top here, I'm going to be adding 500 grams of citric acid. And citric acid is what gives it the fizz and makes it amazing and does a little spin, which is what everybody likes. And so yeah, so I've created this recipe myself. I've formulated it over quite some time, and I just keep changing it a little bit dependent on the weather. I'm in Australia, so it is quite hot here in Australia, so this suits a really warm climate. But honestly, even in the winter, I use the same recipe. The only difference is I will only use half a teaspoon less of the oils, but you can play around with that and see how you go. So you can see here I'm going to be sifting all of the ingredients. I know this seems tedious, but honestly this is the main part of making a good bath bomb. If you don't mix it and you don't put it through a sieve or a sifter, it honestly won't be a great bath bomb in my experience. So I'm just telling you off what works for me, and hopefully this can work for you and you can all be doing some successful bath bombs. So you can see at the bottom all of the harder, sort of more granulated, not citric acid, Epsom salts will sit at the bottom. You can tip those little bits in because you've made everything else go and be sifted at this stage. So now I'm going to be adding in some kaolin clay. So with the kaolin clay, it's 5 grams of that. 10 grams of milk powder. You can use goat's milk, full cream milk powder. I just get mine at the local shopping centre. And and so that way it will be beautiful. And also add in 10 grams of SLSA and 10 grams of cream of tartar. Cream of tartar will make the bath bomb a lot harder. Kaolin clay will just give a bit of a silky feel to it, and the milk powder will allow for more bubbles. So now we're on to making the wet ingredients, which is the oils. My recipe is a total oil-based recipe, which is great because it means when you add this into your citric acid, it will not activate it, meaning it will not swell the bath bomb. So if you use water-based, yes, or even with an alcohol base, it still will activate it because your alcohol base has some water in it as well. So here you can see that I'm going to be adding all of my oils. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apricot oil, 1 tablespoon of jojoba oil, but you can change that to sweet almond if you don't have that. I always add 2 or 3 drops of vitamin E as well into all of my mixture. And then 1 tablespoon of fragrance oil. And the fragrance oil, please check on what the measurements are on it, so make sure that you're following the guidelines. But for this particular fragrance, it's more than fine for me to add that I'm doing here. When I make it, I usually make a double batch. So this one I am making a double batch, but I'm giving you the single batch recipe. Not many people want to make 3,000 grams or so of bath bombs, so I do, but we have a store, so we do sell quite a lot. So that's why I would make a bigger batch. Once we've mixed all of our oils and made sure this is all looking amazing, I just give it a little bit of a mix in the jug that you can see that I'm mixing here. And now you can see I'm popping on the second one because, like I said, I am doing a double batch. But once again, the recipe that I'm giving you is for a single batch. If you want to do a double, then just double the mixture. But I always keep the mixture separated into 2 jugs. So I never do a double mixture in one pot. This way it's much easier for you to be able to break it into halves or quarters with the colours. So I try to do it this way, and that way it's neater and you know exactly what you're getting. So with the 1,000 gram bicarb mixture, which is this one we're talking about, you'll easily be able to get about 15 medium bath bombs. I usually do the mega bath bombs in this. And for the mega ones, I can get anything from sort of 8 to maybe 10 at the very most. Okay, so we're back now, we're up to the next stage. For here, we're going to pop our oils into our mixer. So you can see here, we pop all of ours into an electric mixer. These are only, honestly, a department store one. They're a $69 one, so you don't have to buy KitchenAid. It can just be a standard mixer, but it does need to be dedicated just to bath bombs or soap. You can't use this after you use it for bath bombs and so on, because obviously it's had, you know, chemicals or fragrance oils in, and that would contaminate your food. So definitely keep it only to your bath bombs. So you can see that I put all the mixture, the oils, and then I'm just going to let it mix for about 2 to 3 minutes, stirring in between to make sure you're pulling all the white flours and or powders more off the bottom of the actual mixer, because they won't mix all the way through with a cheaper mixer like this. So I just turn it and spin it round. The second one that you can see me doing that has just white powder in it, I'm going to be dividing this and splitting that batch into two colours. So hence why I'm not adding the colour in at this stage. I will add it in once I sort of split the mixture off, and then I'll just keep one colour to that side and one colour for the other one. So pink is going to be our main base for this colour, and then we're going to add it in. So you can see me here with the second batch. I'm just going to pop some of it out into a stainless steel bowl. Stainless steel bowls are really good too. You can get them anywhere, even, like I said, your local department store. So I'm going to add the orange in that we're using here, and that will be on a mixer for about a minute or so as well. Okay, so everything's been mixed. It's all ready to go. So here I'm going to be spraying witch hazel. I don't use any water at all. I only use witch hazel. Now witch hazel will activate it just like water if you spray too much. So spray a couple sprays and then mix it immediately, making sure you mix around the edge. So you can see when I'm mixing it, I'm grabbing the mixture from around the edge of the bowl. So here you can see that's too dry. It needs more mixture. It should hold firm in your hand when you squeeze it really tight. You'll hear a lot of people say it should feel like wet sand, but wet sand is actually too wet for a bath bomb, and that's where people get confused. So it does need to be a lot drier. You'll see that my mixture here isn't really wet. It is a lot drier, but do remember we're in Australia, so it does get warm here quite fast. So what I actually do is spray a few in each. I'll mix each colour together, and you will really have about a 30 to 40 minute window from when you start mixing here to when you need to complete the bath bombs. If you don't complete them in that time, the mixture will be too dry, and then you will need to add some more witch hazel. And often after that 40-minute window, the bath bombs aren't that great. They will crack. So I always say try and do it within that window. It's better to do a small batch, so that way you know that your batch is done, and it's not going to dry out in time. So I try and do these when I'm by myself and I don't have too many distractions. So hopefully that's helped you a little bit understand that part. So now we're on to actually making the bath bomb. So you can see I'm going to use the stainless steel molds. These are the mega molds. And just to help everyone understand, what I've actually done is I purposely put too much witch hazel in here to show you what will actually happen. So I'm going to literally just put my molds together. So you can see I'm just going to put a bit of each colour. I'm pinching the middle. If you pinch the middle, it actually allows for a layering effect in your bath bomb. I actually did see this online from a UK soaper. I can't remember her name, or I would list it, but I just went past it and seen it and I thought, what a good trick. So yeah, that's what I use. So squeeze the two molds together tightly, rubbing around the edge where the line is. You can see the lines firmly together on this bath bomb, and that's what you need to get it out of the bath bomb. So just give it a bit of a tap with a knife, as I'm doing here, and that will just release the air pocket and allow it to come out. But as I said, I purposely done this one, damaged it so that you'll be able to see. So can you see how it's crumbly at the top? And it's stuck to the actual mold, and that's because it's too wet. So a lot of people ask me, why is it sticking to the mold? And that's exactly why. It's just too wet. So what you can do is just keep mixing your mixture and let it dry out a tiny bit. It will only take a few minutes. So now we've decided here we're going back to show you how to do it properly. So we've left it a little bit to let it dry out a tiny bit. And now for this portion here, we're going to be mixing it all together and making in the mold to make them beautiful. So like I said, I just mix my colours. So the good idea is if you choose the colours you want in the bottom and then the colours in the top, what will actually happen is then the middle portion, you can just squeeze it together and it actually stops you moulding all the colours together and mixing the colours up too much. So you'll see when I'm doing this what I mean. See, the pink is on the top, just mould it, don't push it tight, just sort of, pop it on there, but it's not tight at all, it's just loose. And then I'm going to wiggle them together, as you can see here, just squishing them together and pushing them tight. And as I go along, I continuously rub against that line, getting any crumbs away from the line, which will end up in a beautiful looking bath bomb. So tapping with the knife, like I said, or you can use a pair of scissors, but you do need to tap. Once you've tapped all the way round and you want to take it off, you can only tap 2 or 3 times. I'm just doing this extra, and you can see here that it's coming out of the mold. Just give it a little bit of a squeeze, and and then it looks beautiful. So yep, you can see how nicely it's come out of the mold. If you feel that it's sticking to the mold, get some paper towel and just wipe out the mold. So you just wipe it out a little bit, and anything that's sticking in it will come out, and then you'll be ready to start again. If you get stuff stuck in that mold, like just a little, even some crumbs, it will stop any other mixture to be able to stick in it. Okay, so now they're all ready. So we pop them in our little room with our humidifier, as you can see here, just a little cheap one from Amazon. Okay, so we're on to the next bit. This is the next day after they've been drying for 12 plus hours. This is our little light box. We got this from EB Games for $49. And honestly, it's a game changer when taking photos. So you literally just attach the cord from it, which is your typical, your USB cord, which goes into your PowerPoint and then into the light box. Then we pop in the products that we're going to pop in. So choose the bath bomb that has the most colours or that looks more vibrant, because you want to show people exactly how gorgeous it is. And once you put it in, think about the merchandising of the bath bomb. Luckily for me, I have done merchandising for many years, so I do understand it a little bit, as well as I've studied interior design. But anyone can do it. As you can see, you just pop them in and, make sure you just walk around and see that it's sitting the right way. These little Fruit Loops that I'm adding in here go with my whole theme of the Fruit Loop bath bombs. These Fruit Loops are actually a melt and pour, and these were made from a company called Suds Off in Australia. So they're looking all beautiful and ready to go, and next you will see the beautiful photos that we're going to bring to you, which will be our advertising photos, and we'll advertise the product as well as our social media photos. So hopefully you've loved it, and thank you so much for subscribing and loving what we do. All done, and I'm sure that you'll agree they look absolutely beautiful and ready to go out to our lucky customers.